Well, there we have it, guys. Probably one of, if not the biggest fixture of the World Cup so far. South Africa versus Ireland, the world number 1 and 2 playing each other, and Ireland come out on top 13 points to 8. What an absolute nail-biter this one was. As a neutral, I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're either a supporter for either side, if you're a South African, you're pretty heartbroken right now. If you're an Ireland supporter, you're probably having a great time. The game has just finished on my end, so we'll go over a full-time review, give some thoughts, some highlights on the match and all that good stuff. If you enjoy this style of video, make sure to drop it a like, and of course, get down in that comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the game, because there's a lot of key areas to talk about in this one. So Ireland taking it in the end, 13 points to 8, and to be honest, I think this match could have gone either way. We said it in the preview. I said this match would end one score either way. Ireland more in favour of South Africa in the preview video, thinking those forwards were just going to have the impact, thinking Ireland might try and meet them physically as opposed to playing it wide. And you have to say Ireland actually kind of fronted up in the physical department. They didn't shy away from it at all, and they managed to weather the storm of the 7-1 coming on from the bench, and performed really, really well. So in the first half, Ireland got off to a really good start. They got a penalty very early on in that game, kicked themselves all the way up to the South African 22. But the line out today, not great. One of the areas I talk most positively about Ireland is that line out, how many solid jumpers they have. But today it just wasn't working. They actually lost their first 4 lineouts of the game. Massive, massive detriment to them. The set piece area is such a big platform that Ireland like to launch off from, set that loop pass or set Bundy Aki on his way. And losing that lineout put them in all sorts of issues. And going up against South Africa with that bench, I thought was maybe going to end up being a bit of a downfall, losing that set piece for Ireland. But they didn't shy away from it. Over the course of this first half, in the first sort of 20 minutes or so, we had 4 penalties for Ireland that I all thought were in Johnny Sexton's range. They were just on the wrong side of the halfway line. Johnny Sexton got a great boot on him. Maybe it was just outside his range, but I would have had a good crack at a couple of them, I think, for him. But he decided not to. All 4 penalties they went to kick to touch, went for that line out, and not a single one of them working out for them. But it was South Africa that got on the scoreboard first. A big counter-attack by them, charging back up the Irish end of the field, getting that penalty announced. Libbok taking his nice early conversion in the first 5 minutes took them to a 3-minute lead. Now, kicking will become a big issue in this game for South Africa. It was one of the big talking points going into it. No dedicated kicker. Andre Pollard coming back into the side, and would he have got into this squad and maybe just helped them out in that kicking? Because, you know, Sexton's not going to be missing these kicks when he's offered the opportunity, and by the end of the game, kicking was a real blow for them. And that early penalty from Libbok was almost the only score we had to talk about on the board. It took a long time for Mac Hansen to get his try, started out by Bundy Aki. Who else in this Ireland team is going to be the one to break that sort of deadlock, struggling to get through some of those South African forwards? Bundy Aki hitting the gap between 2 backs, charging all the way up, putting Ireland on the front foot and awarding Ireland that position in the South African 22, and then shipping the ball out wide on a bit of a looping pass over the top, managing for him to run in his try. Thought he got very close to the dead ball line. A little bit too close for anyone's comfort, I think. And Sexton, of course, being able to convert that one. So Ireland went in 7-3 at half time. Not that South Africa didn't have opportunities. There were big opportunities for South Africa a couple of times, actually, up in the Ireland half, scrummaging on Ireland's own 5-metre line. There was a really weird decision for me. They had the scrum, middle of the field, the best attacking opportunity you can hope for in a game of rugby, really. They had Libbok and Valemsa set up behind the scrum. They had Damien Dialende to the left. They had Colby off to the left as well. Faf de Klerk picks up the ball from the back of the scrum, runs it himself over to Jesse Creel, tries to go for a bit of a wild offload, and it got caused the knock on. I don't know what that decision was. I know he's being put under big pressure by Gibson Park, but you think when you've got Libbok and Valemsa directly behind the scrum, let them take charge. I think there could have been a great opportunity for them to have passed it back and then actually run round the left alongside with Damien Dialende. You'd have created basically a 4-on-2. I think there was a real opportunity missed for them there. But Ireland went in half-time in the lead, and yeah, he felt like kind of deserved in terms of the performance. They had the ball for a big majority of that game. I had to try and find a stat. 62% is what I found in terms of possession for Ireland. They were holding onto the ball a lot, and they were weathering the storm a lot. South Africa putting them under a lot of pressure throughout that first half, but managing to deal with it defensively really, really sound. And I think at halftime they would have been happy with 7-3. I feel like maybe they could have gone for some more opportunities towards kicking at post for Ireland, maybe just put that scoreboard a little bit further out of reach at at halftime, but 7-3 felt like a good score for them going in. Now, the second half is where this one really began to explode. I think you'd probably say for the majority of the second half. South Africa really took over this one, took it by the scruff of the neck. Cheslin Kolbe getting his try in the first 10 minutes. Actually came off the back of a bit of a wild one again. South Africa getting a big jackal penalty. Jasper Wiese getting over that one. Faf de Klerk stepping up for this one, maybe on range. Maybe they didn't feel too confident in Libbok's kicking ability for it. Faf de Klerk took the kick, long range kick, came off the post. Great chase by the South African backs to rush up, put the pressure on, managed to award themselves a scrum, again in a good area. This time, from the back of that scrum, they shipped out towards the left, got that ball out to Cheslin Kolbe to run that one back inside, score his try. Now, the kicking duties, again, the issue for them, missed the conversion. It's a relatively easy conversion, especially when you talk about tier 1 level rugby. You know, you've got to be taking those conversions. So it remained at 8-7 as opposed to maybe extending that one out to 10-7. And unfortunately, it didn't really stop there. They had another penalty in the 63rd minute. That one got missed by Libbok. They had another penalty in the 69th minute, and that one got missed by Faf de Klerk. And those kicking misses just begin to stack up against a team like Ireland. You can't really afford to be missing them. I'm trying to make notes myself, of course. The game has literally just finished for me. I had them down as missing 3 penalties and 1 conversion. That's 11 points. That's 11 points missed off the board. That could have been a 19-13 win. And that is the difference between having a high percentage kicker in these, crucial games. And it's something South Africa will have to think long and hard about as they progress on through the quarters and beyond, because missing those kicks is what's going to cost you games. And while at the minute in the pool stages, having the one loss in the pool stage, maybe you can still see them qualify out in the quarterfinals, semi-finals. You just can't be missing those sorts of kicks. In terms of the physicality then, South Africa taking this one really hard, as we'd expect, right? The 7-1 coming on from the bench. The scrum seemed to be leaning more towards South Africa. Felt like they had more dominance there. That bomb squad coming on, again, made a massive impact. We started seeing Ireland scrums getting actually driven back on their own put-in and really trying to live up to that fearsome physical expectation. At the 60-minute marker, dominant tackles. Just to put it into perspective, South Africa had 25 dominant tackles. Ireland had 5, as well as just the sprint speed that South Africa had coming off the line. They were catching Ireland further and further back behind. But you've got to give massive credit to the Irish forwards to be able to weather the storm, because there were a number of key areas in that game where it felt like South Africa were on the charge. They were going to get over that try line. They were putting them under big pressure at the breakdown, and Ireland absolutely holding their own, considering how long some of those lads had to stay on the field for, up against fresh legs coming on. Really solid defence by them. And one of the areas they really showed off in was that counter maul. While the line out for them not working particularly brilliantly in this game, Ireland's counter maul in this game really making a nuisance for South Africa. A number of times they went for that driving maul. They were chucking the backs in to try and get them driving forward. But that Irish maul, people like Ty Byrne, James Ryan, Josh van der Fleet, everyone just getting involved, getting through the middle, wrapping up the player and dragging it to ground is one of the main reasons they were able to survive this, along with some of the big counter rucks, to be fair. There was a couple of opportunities where it looked like South Africa on the big charge, and he managed to have a superb turnover in the middle of the field. Actually led to Jack Crowley getting his penalty. Again, South Africa had the ball in their hands. The one ruck they didn't support, Ireland blitzed over the top. They got the ball back into that South African 22, put them under massive pressure, managed to win a scrum, and then actually got a penalty at the scrum and just took that easy 3 points for them, just to make it 13 points to 8. Now, South Africa had one last opportunity in this game, and I think it's probably going to be one of the bigger talking points from this game. Right at the end, they managed to move all the way up the field, a penalty helping them kick them all the way to that Ireland 5-metre line. They go for the line out, and they had the big driving maul again, chucking the backs in. Driving maul is heading towards that try line. Ireland managed to hold it up. I did think, again, there was a couple of players coming round the back. I'd have to go back and rewatch it to see if any of them actually changed their binding. So I thought a couple of people came in from the side, managing to hold it up. The driving maul stopping. The referee asking to see the ball. Cobus Reinach is ripping the ball out, saying, "Here it is, sir," and the ref blows the whistle, saying it's unplayable. And I think, man, what a close call that one could have been. I think in a different game, the ref on the other side of the maul sees that ball coming out and says that's absolutely fine. It is one of the things in rugby, as soon as that driving maul collapses, it's so quickly you need to be able to get the ball out of that driving maul. But had that managed to come out, Ireland was so wrapped up in that maul. Could South Africa have gone to get a try? If they had gone and got a try, it would have been 13-all, and then you're still relying on a kick. which wasn't really going South Africa's way, but sometimes you need the cut of the grass to go your way, and the luck of the Irish maybe getting on their side for that final call. But congratulations to Ireland, 13 points to 8, and my goodness, did they have to weather a storm to get that score and not concede anything. Fair play to them from that sort of 50-minute onward mark, and not managing to concede any points considering how much pressure they were being put under. Bundy Aki got man of the match, which did kind of surprise me. I think some of the forwards put in a hell of a stint more. Josh van der Fleer and Caelan Doris just didn't stop all game, tackling, counter-rucking in the maul. I really felt like some of them deserved it. The one break by Bundy Aki maybe put Ireland on that front foot and maybe opened that game up a little bit. Maybe that's why they thought he went for it. But I definitely, for me, would have given it to one of the Irish forwards. But what a superb game this one was. I thoroughly enjoyed it as a neutral. Ireland go on now. What do we think? Does this put them in the driving seat to go on to win the tournament? Are they now moving into the favourites, having beaten that world number 2 of South Africa? Were they the closest competitors? France have got Antoine Dupont now with a big injury, massive blow to them. Have Ireland maybe separated themselves out a bit now as favourites to go on to win this tournament? Drop it down in the comment section because I always enjoy having a read through them all. I hope you all enjoyed this one today, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.